Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, all from here at the House of Jubilee. All holidays included, all holidays celebrated. For those of you that came out to celebrate with us for our Black Gospel Nativity, we thank you for the sold out houses and the tears, the claps, the joys that we all had and celebrated as a community. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you for the upcoming production of Bread and Gravy. But before we get ready for Bread and Gravy, we have a special surprise just for you all. Please know that over the years, your phone calls, your emails, your thoughts and wishes have not gone unheard. Throughout the years, a lot of the community has reached out to Jubilee Theatre and said, when is Jubilee Theatre bringing back educational programming? The bulk of our educational program has been in the colleges and high schools. But when are we going to be able to bring our kids in and start building the next generation of artists? And that's really what our goal is, the next 42, an educational initiative. And then the process of doing that, while we're branding, we're shaping, we're building what our educational programs are going to look like. What we've done is we first started with, right in our backyard, our own community partner, Miss Shavonne Davis, who is with Maroon 9 and acting with Miss Davis. And with that, she's bringing to us, in partnership with Jubilee Theatre, Bone Soup, which is written by Miss Jessica Smith Hebron, aka the Culture Queen. So in a moment, both these beautiful ladies are going to be coming in. We're going to learn more about them and what's to come the following week of going right after a Black Gospel Nativity. So come on in, ladies. Looking forward to talking with you. Well,
Hello.
hello, ladies. Good to meet you. Good to see you, Miss Shavonne. We've been seeing each other for the for the last 5 weeks. Um, and to the Culture Queen, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. I would, before we go any further, I would love for you both to take a moment and introduce yourselves. Tell us more about you and the work that you do for our community. Miss Davis.
Absolutely. My name is Shavonne Davis. I am the executive director of Maroon 9 Community Enrichment Organization and the creative director of Acting with Mrs. Davis. Maroon 9 provides year round teen enrichment programs for underserved youth in the areas of arts, STEM, and college and career readiness. And Maroon 9 is a family organization that has been around since 2015, started by my mother in remembrance of my uncle, Michael Patterson, who passed away of sickle cell disease. And with that, we have endeavored to provide just out of school time enrichment programs for youth, despite their socioeconomic status, being able to access quality out of school time enrichment programs for free. All of our programs are free. And with Acting with Mrs. Davis, you can catch me in some of your Fort Worth ISD schools on Fridays and throughout the week and after school programs providing theater arts enrichment. Primarily, my newest endeavor is conflict resolution through theater. And so just making sure that we use theater in a meaningful way, very intentional with my programming and how I'm able to connect with kids through the arts.
Thank you so much. Culture Queen. Tell us more about you.
Well, my name's Culture Queen, and I'm on the scene to remind you that you're royalty. There's kings and queens in your family tree, and even more found in your history. Wanna be a royal citizen? The time is now. Join me on this joyous journey, and I'll show you how. Studying my history, who do I see? Kings and queens inspiring me. Kingdom, kingdom, culture, kingdom. Time to have fun. I I'm Jessica Culture Queen Hebron, and I love Miss Davis because one thing that she and I both have in common is we're both theater educators, and we connected over the fact that we both have taught theater for a really long time, and it was just so great to meet another Black queen in the field who's worked with children in that way and has that passion for educational theater. I'm the founder and owner of Culture Kingdom Kids, and since 2010. For the past 13 years, we've been on a mission to raise up a generation of child ambassadors who can recognize and share the richness of African American history and culture to their peers, families, and communities. I'm also the playwright of Bone Soup that I wrote for the Smithsonian 11 years ago, and I'm a Grammy-nominated children's music artist, author, and teacher and producer of children's events. I'm also a chief program officer and chief arts officer of Arts for Learning Maryland. So I kind of am in the arts field as well as arts administration.
Mm. Come on, come on, come on. I feel blessed to be in the room with such royalty. Thank you, ladies. Now, we are here today to discuss bone soup. But before we can go into bone soup, we got to first talk about Kwanzaa. What is Kwanzaa? For those of you who are watching this who may not know, what is Kwanzaa? What are those principles of Kwanzaa? And why do we celebrate those? I would love it if we could do an introduction of Kwanzaa and take each one of those days and break them down.
Okay, so who wants to start?
That's you, Culture Queen.
Okay, all right. So Kwanzaa is an African American holiday that celebrates family, culture, and community. It was created in 1966 by Dr. Mulana Karinga, and the purpose of Kwanzaa was to create a holiday that Black people around the world, but specifically in America, could have to celebrate and to gather as a community. It's inspired. I like to say it's African inspired, but it's an official African American holiday. And it's inspired. The reason that it takes place in December is because a lot of African, even right now as we speak, there are a lot of African festivals harvest festivals that take place in December. And so inspired by some of the Egyptian festivals and West African festivals, Dr. Karinga wanted Kwanzaa to be at a time that kind of mirrored that. But it was created in America. And it's over 50 years old. And I think it's really cool. How many holidays can you say that the founder is still alive?
Come on.
Okay. Yeah. So anybody who wants to say it's a fake holiday, they're a hater because, you get to, this holiday is the ultimate creativity because it allows Black people to have 7 days to focus on their family, culture, and community. And the 7 principles, there are seven principles for 7 days. And you start with umoja, which means unity. All of these words are Swahili words, one of the, many languages spoken on the continent of Africa. And Kwanzaa means first fruits. So when you look at the Kwanzaa decor and table, you're going to see fruits and corn and vegetables and fresh fruits of the harvest. And I think that also goes for the harvest of your life, your creativity. So you got unity, umoja. It means unity. And then the second day, that's December 26th. And so that's the time you're going to be with your family the whole time. But, you're really talking about solidarity. And then you've got one of my favorite principles, Kuchi Chakulia, which is what Miss Davis is doing with those babies, with those teen babies, making sure that they have self-determination, defining for themselves and naming for themselves. And then we've got the third day of Kwanzaa is Ujima, collective work and responsibility, which is what I see you guys doing, working together with Jubilee Theatre and Maroon 9 and Acting with Miss Davis, working together to solve, making your brothers and sisters problems your own, and working together to solve them together. That's what I heard was happening down in Texas from Baltimore. Okay. Yeah. And then on the 28th, we've got Ujamaa, cooperative economics, which is what we're all doing, supporting each other's Black-owned businesses. Jubilee is hiring and supporting, and Miss Davis is supporting all of these wonderful actors and actresses and putting all of these musicians and music producers and choreographers and all these people that she's got working on this show. She's taking her wealth, and you guys are taking your wealth with these Black-owned businesses that you have and pouring into other Black-owned businesses, including mine, to make sure that the dollar circulates in our community and it doesn't just go out to people that don't just really care about us, So then that's the 4th day. Then we get to the 5th day, which is Nia, purpose, which is what we're all working in on this project, which is what I love. Miss Davis is walking in. She's not only walking in her purpose, she's helping other kids to discover and explore their
Yes.
purpose at a young
Yes.
age. And you know what you guys are doing with Jubilee Theater is extremely important, because I heard that this is a historic, one of a kind theater, and you're making sure that that legacy lives on for generations to come, not just because of Kwanzaa, not just because of whatever, you've been doing it, and you're going to make sure that people keep doing it
Yes.
yesterday, now, and forever. But it's
Yes.
the day that we ask those questions. Am I who I really say I am? Am I all that I ought to be? And whatever those answers are, it helps you to think about how you want to be in the future. It's a reflection time and an action planning time. And then our favorite principle, creativity, Kaumba. We're using what our talents, our skills, what I call in Culture Kingdom, our royal powers. And those are not magic. They are Black girl magic and Black boy joy. But those are those innate skills that we were born with, that we use to creatively help our friends, family, and community with the things that we're really good at or working on. And we creatively do that in so many different ways. For me, I was able to use my skills of playwriting, but Miss Davis is the director. And so she and the producer. And you guys have the space. And when our powers combine, we are our Black theater unstoppable, you know? And finally, the last day, Imani, faith. We are honoring our ancestors on that day. And, you know, I love Lift Every Voice and Sing, facing the rising sun, all of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. We're honoring those who came before us, our ancestors that we've lost, and thinking about making sure that we have faith with our teachers, our leaders, and everyone in the victory of our struggle. So that's January 1st, and that takes us right on into New Year's Day. So 7 principles, and I guess the last thing I'll say is just the symbols of Kwanzaa, because, you know, that's important. And the 7 candles are red, 3 red, 1 black, the unity candle, and 3 green. They sit in a kinara, which is a candle holder that holds 7 principles for 7 days. And if you know anything about the number 7, see, I got married on 7/7/17. So 7 is that divine number. It's that divine number. I mean, there are a lot of divine numbers, but 7 is really important because that's about completion and starting again. You got the menorah. I'm sorry, menorah. Well, you got the kinara. What am I talking about? Sorry, I'm thinking about Hanukkah only because some of my students celebrate Hanukkah, and I'm meeting some Black Jewish students too. And they asked me, can they celebrate Kwanzaa? And the answer is yes. You can be whatever religion that you want to be and celebrate Kwanzaa, because Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday; it's a cultural one. So you got the kinara, which is the candle holder, and it rests on the mkeka, the mat, which is the straw mat that represents the foundation as it's woven together. And you have symbols. You've got the Bandera, which is the red, black, and green flag, or the Pan-African flag that was created by Marcus Garvey. You've got the Unity Cup, which is where we use to pour libations. You have the Zawadi, which are the handmade gifts or gifts purchased from Black-owned businesses that really show your creativity and your cooperative economics. And then you have your fruit, which is the fruits of the harvest, the mazao, and the muhindi, the corn, which represents the children. And you put the amount of ears of corn on the table based on how many children are in your family. And I think I have listed just about everything that goes on the Kwanzaa table. And that's basically it.
I didn't know that about the muhindi. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So however many kids, and if you don't have any kids, like right now I don't have any biological children, you can put 2, but I count all the Culture Kingdom kids so I gotta have 6,000 ears of corn, you know.
Cool.
And keep them thrilling. So here's the big question about Kwanzaa, and I remember being a kid and first learning about Kwanzaa, and there was for those who don't know.
Ask it.
Is Kwanzaa supposed to replace Christmas?
No.
Thank you. 2 different holidays. One has nothing to do with the other. You can celebrate both. Thank you for saying that.
I'm celebrating both. My Christmas tree is right there. And Jesus was Black, so I think he was celebrating Kwanzaa.
Come on. Yeah, like bird. Come on, bird blast.
I'm
bird
going to. I mean, I don't. You can be So there's a movie called The Black Candle by Marcus Asante, I believe it is, and he did a documentary about Kwanzaa being celebrated around the world. And in the movie, he goes to all the places: Japan, France,
Wow.
Canada, and you see all the different kinds of Black people around celebrating Kwanzaa in their own way. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just different, states,
Mm-hmm.
countries, continents. Um, I think that I can understand why Kwanzaa would be, people would think it's like, oh, it's Black Christmas, or what I've heard people say, oh, you don't have no money, so you celebrate Kwanzaa because you had the handmade. I've heard it all. I've heard it all.
All these
But
handmade gifts this year. Uh-huh. Yeah.
but that's not it. That's not it. And honestly, it's not the only Black holiday we have. First and foremost, your
Come on.
amazing Texans have Juneteenth.
Come on.
Okay. And
That's a
Juneteenth is
federal holiday for
big.
everybody. Come
Right.
Right.
on.
And everybody else is just catching on, but y'all been doing it since forever. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's Memorial Day, which has its origins. There's all of the different emancipation days in different states. For me in
Mm-hmm.
Maryland, it's November 1st. For you guys, you've got Juneteenth. DC has April. There's so many watch night service. I have a whole book about different African American holidays. Black Love Day is a holiday, and the creative Black Love Day, Ayo Handy Kendi, which was a mentor to me as I was working on celebrating Kwanzaa. We have so many holidays, and my thing is, why we need all the holidays we can get? What's wrong? I
Mm-hmm.
need more, because we already celebrate our birthday for a
Yeah.
month.
And one doesn't have to cancel out the other.
No,
Right.
why can't we live in abundance?
Come on, child. She about to take me there. Come on, abundance. And it's okay to celebrate yourself, to celebrate your community, to
Mm-hmm.
celebrate who we are as a people. And I
Everybody
think
else is
sometimes we
doing it.
forget that.
Yeah.
Come on. And I feel
Everybody
like
else is
you're
doing it.
apologetic about it.
Can we have something? Can
And we
we
have,
have something of our own
and that's why I
without
say, see,
negating it?
Mm-hmm.
but
So
that's the problem. We negate it so we don't even have to wait for the rest of the world to tell us that something's fake.
mm,
And I think there's something to that how do we don't even love ourselves, because I always say, see, this is why we can't have nice things like a
mm,
holiday. Because then when
Mm-hmm.
we try to have it, we try to figure out all the reasons why we shouldn't celebrate it. And there's a
mm,
lot of myths out there, but
Oh
that's why
man.
why I created the Play Bone Soup, to find a way for people
mm.
to get excited about something that was created for us, by us, to help
Come on,
us to come back to us.
come on.
That's what
So
I feel about it. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is it's a religion. And when I hear that, I'm like, no, it's not a religion, cultural celebration, cultural holiday, way of life. That's what I kind of like to say, way of
mhm,
life. I feel like the Kwanzaa principles can be used and should be used every day in every piece of your life.
come
And that's my biggest misconception. And then also people feel like it was derived from Africa, only, that it just celebrated in Africa only, and that no one else. And so I literally had someone the other day say, I met a gentleman from Africa and he didn't know what Kwanzaa was, and I was just like, how in the world can you be from Africa and you don't know? I'm like, okay, no, you've
Because
got it
it's an
wrong.
African American
yeah,
holiday. It's actually
Hmm.
yeah.
not. There are a lot of African people that I know who may not celebrate it, and they have their own cultural traditions. They've got, I mean, come on,
Hmm.
they're coming from the source. So they have,
Right.
this holiday is only 50 years old. So we invite them to ours, and then they give us education about theirs. And so that's why I say it's African inspired.
Mhm,
But I think it's important for people to know that it's an African American holiday,
Hmm.
because we
I
don't, when
agree.
you think about the word African American people or Black holiday, it was created in America, just like
mhm,
our R&B, just like all the other things that we
mhm.
have that
Uniquely
were
us.
created by Black people in America. It's just one of the things.
Mm. So, Miss Davis, as we're getting ready to go into the bone and the soup, can you tell us? Not, first, thank you for reaching out to Jubilee Theater and making this a great opportunity for us to begin merging into our next 42 initiative of education and building and shaping what that is going to look like in the future. But the question right now is regarding bone soup. Why bone soup now? And what was your process in pulling all of the, what's, for those of you who come to see the show, this entire show is youth. There's not one adult on stage, and that is a process in itself. So what was your process in the casting and putting the show together, and why Bone Soup today?
Absolutely, Wambui. So, this is my third production of Bone Soup, shall I say. So, my first production, my first year of teaching in South Dallas in 2015, and put together a performance with a new group of students who had no theater experience. We're looking for a creative outlet. I saw a need, and we, became a family through learning the principles of Kwanzaa. I'll be honest. I did not know much about Kwanzaa. It's not something that I celebrated growing up. And as an educator, I feel like it is my duty to learn as well as grow my students. And so this was an opportunity for me to learn, and that was our first production. And in person, we got a lot of support from the community. Shout out to the Pan African Connection store in Dallas that supplied all of our costumes that year, Sister Akwete. And so fast forward to the pandemic, and that is when I really jumped full force into Maroon 9 and acting with Mrs. Davis. And I saw a need. Our kiddos were just sitting at home. They were bored. They had questions. They needed a place for, to share their views, and just an outlet. And so I said, hey, I love Bone Soup. Why don't we do something virtual? And also was, birthing the idea of kids acting with purpose, which is so crazy how things come around full circle. And that is one of my first programs that I created back in, I want to say about 2015. I was like, I'm going to start this theater troupe with kiddos called Kids Acting with Purpose. And we're going to travel around, and we're going to perform for different schools and focus on these meaningful topics, and let our kiddos, really dive into social impact. And so, things just kind of moved a little slow. But I said, hey, let's do this virtual production. So I reached out to some of the kiddos that I knew. Also, I had just received a grant from Beyonce and the NAACP that year, and that gave me the opportunity to have free programs. And so I kind of put a call out to the kiddos that I was working with and said, hey, I just need a good, talented, about 8 actors who would love to meet for about a month online, and put this together. We hired an African drummer. He came, and it was really cool. And so at that time, that's when I reached out to Miss Jessica and kind of told her what I had going on and how in love I was with this play. And I always said that I wanted to bring it to life again. And so here we are. And this time around, it's just been in the making. When me and you first connected a couple years ago, Wambui, I told you then, I was like, I want to do this Kwanzaa play called Bone Soup. And you were like, okay, how can I fit it in? We've got our holiday play. And, we took our time. We didn't force it. And here we are. I would not want to do any other production as my inaugural production of Kids Acting with Purpose, shall I say, but Bone Soup, because that's just how much I love it. And this is just the beginning. This is only the beginning. What I will say about the process, personalities. These kiddos, they all have these personalities. They're so funny, and they don't know each other. But I pride myself on building a culture, and creating a theater space that is built upon family. And so I'm very intentional, and I was in the beginning, about our activities for us to be able to get to know each other, for them to be able to get to know me. And we are now a family. And sometimes I just sit back, watch them interact with each other, and then I look at their growth. We have an amazing team. All of the people, everything is intentional with me. This project is very intentional. Working with Jubilee Theatre is very intentional. And just having the opportunity to really train these kiddos and develop them through the spirit of Kwanzaa, it just all makes sense. It just all makes sense.
One of the things that has been a blessing in these last 5 weeks, sitting in on rehearsals and watching the growth and the development of them, is those ones that come in real quiet, and now they're the ones that are leading the charge. Those that haven't yet found their voice, and now they're the leaders. As we are growing and building, I think it's important for our audience to understand, because when we look at budgets, when we look at what's happening in the educational system in America today, some of the first programs that get cut are educational programming. So can you all, from your perspectives, both as educational, gurus and leaders in the industry, can you explain to our constituents, our stakeholders, the importance of the arts in our youth, really for our youth?
Well, I can. Oh, go ahead.
No, no,
Sorry.
no. Go ahead, Culture Queen.
Well, I can tell you a whole lot of stuff. Both you and I, we both grew up in the arts. I had parents who supported them, us to be, they were, my childhood was spending time going to dance lessons, theater lessons, drama camp, dance camp, gymnastics camp. I didn't do so well in gymnastics camp, but I did well at the other ones. I found my love at theater camp, musical theater intensive, and from there, went to performing arts high school, and then went to school for theater education and got certified. And so she and I share a passion for making sure that kids have early and often opportunities to have accessible art. Sometimes I think people think that theater is only when you go to the theater, but she has brought the theater to children. And that's actually how Culture Kingdom started. I started by doing very similarly to Miss Davis, bringing theater enrichment programs to children. And Bone Soup was with some teens, just like you had it. And so that's why it's such an honor to hear you doing this production and the way that it started. And it's so important. I work for a state organization that puts arts programs in for 250,000 students across the state of Maryland. And I'm responsible for putting arts programs in all of those schools. And, as we've seen funding be cut, the thing is where how they say, put your money where your mouth is. Well, you put your money where your treasure is, which you value. And so when we're taking money from things, what we're showing is that we don't value our children, but we'll be the first to talk about what they're not doing and why this generation is so messed up. And it's not. It's us. It's not us three, because we're doing what we're supposed to do, but we have to make sure that we are not selfish in the opportunities that were afforded to us, that we are making sure that we're making it easier for our children to have those and not putting up the barriers. And so I think it's very important that there are 3 brown people on this call who are so passionate about that, because we're making sure that not only children are getting arts, but they're getting culturally relevant arts. Culturally responsive teaching, that's a buzzword now, but what I'm talking about is, there can be experiences where children are traumatized in the arts. It could deter them from wanting to be in it. But from what I'm hearing, and it sounds like we're very aligned, we're helping the students to not only like the art, but deal with all of the social, emotional things that come with helping them to feel affirmed. So it doesn't matter if they don't become an actor or a dancer, but they can take these skills that they've learned, these transferable skills, and be able to go anywhere and speak with confidence and know conflict resolution and know about culture. That's the point of it all. And that's what arts has always been able to do throughout the history of time. And our ancestors used art to dance through our struggles, to paint through our struggles. And it's the artists that, really determine if you want to see how a culture's doing, see how the artists are doing. They also say, and how are the children? But I also say, and how are the artists? Because if the artists are not doing well, then that says something about what the culture values.
Come on. That's real.
Absolutely, absolutely. Maroon 9, one of our biggest endeavors and why we pour into the arts is to teach creative expression opposed to juvenile crime. We are in a state of emergency with kiddos using violence, fighting to solve their problems. And so we endeavor to teach through the arts, through music, through dance, through theater, through musical theater, to show them something different. And I'm all about exposure. I can think back into high school, and my Italian teacher took me to see Aida, the opera, the Italian opera at Bass Hall. Changed my life, opened my eyes. I knew right then I wanted to be a part of theater. And being able to see people that look like them teach them is also very important to me. And so when I started in South Dallas, of course, Dallas, they are really big on culture, very big on theater, very big on culture. And I said, no, I have to bring my talents to my hometown of Fort Worth. And I'm just going to, what did Tyler Perry say? I can't get a seat at the table. I'm just going to build the table. And so I said, I just want to be a part of building the Black theater culture in Fort Worth and providing these opportunities for our youth. I was that kiddo who my mom would take me to auditions to be a part of programs, and I would not see many people who looked like me. The directors didn't look like me. The maybe one or two students there who looked like didn't who looked like me, and never got a call. Auditioning for school plays, never got a call. And so those things are still in my mind. And also being raised by a single mother and wanting to be more involved in acting and lessons and things like that, and the struggle of her wanting to needing to provide for us. So I don't want any of those. Honestly, I endeavored to give kiddos opportunities that I had and didn't have. And
Mm.
so this is the opportunity for me to do that. We love taking kiddos to see productions. There's so much power. We have students that have went through our program that we have seen just an increase in engagement in school and attendance, and just better decision making. And I know that's through the arts. And the crazy and cool thing about working with kiddos is I truly believe everyone has a story, and so everyone is going through something. And so every day we show up and show out to give our kiddos a break. We're their safe space. And I endeavor to be that through theater. I was that way in my classroom. And I endeavor to be that for the kids that come through our programs, that safe space. So, yes, the arts is very much in need. I thank all of our grant funders so far and the ones that are to come. If you're looking for, something that directly impacts our community, it is the arts. As I always say, we should nurture creativity just as well as we nurture academics.
Come on, come on.
Amen. Amen.
So, ladies, as we get ready to bring things to a close, can you tell us where we can find more information about you and your projects to come? Miss Davis?
Yes, absolutely. So, if you are planning to come and see Bone Super Kwanzaa Story, I do want to say that you are kind of in last place because we have sold out our two
Oh,
shows on Saturday, completely sold out. Opened up two more shows on Friday. Our 7 o'clock show is completely sold out, and we have probably about 70 tickets left for our 2 o'clock show on Friday. But you can keep up with all of our endeavors on Linktree/Maroon9. That is the best way to keep up with Maroon 9. There you'll have access to our Instagram, Facebook. We like to put videos up there. Our Instagram stays popping, so you can always see wonderful videos about our kiddos and the events and programs that we have coming up and going on. And Acting with Mrs. Davis on all socials at Acting with Mrs. Davis. You can check out everything we have going on, upcoming programs, how to book us for after school programs. Definitely reach out to us for conflict resolution through theater. That is one thing that we are wanting to dive into more in 2024 so we can help decrease these juvenile crime rates in Tarrant County.
come on. Another. Miss
Well,
Coach King.
I just want to say, I want to give Miss Davis all her flowers, all of them, all of the flowers. I'm gonna tell you why. Because this is a queen she didn't just open up the table, she made space. And I really appreciate of all the people who have performed the play, she's the only one who reached out to me and invited me to be a part of the experience. And it means so much to me to take an idea that I had in a play that I've been directing and producing and seeing somebody else taking it to the next level. It's like I can't wait to see the play, and I'm just so
Ooh.
honored that she's so, passionate. It's just something, I don't know, it's like such an honor to take something that I created and seeing how it's taking on a life of its own in a positive way and carrying on the original intent. So I want to celebrate you. as a sister and an artist, for sharing and for also, just believing in me and my work. And I totally believe in you. You can I got a whole bunch of other plays I've written. I'm like, what else can she do with this?
Yep, I'm
Yeah,
ready.
I haven't even seen it, and I know it's going to be good because just her organization, her attention to detail, her thoroughness. She's really, really good. And I highly recommend that anybody work with Miss Davis. I haven't even seen
Thank
the work, and I
you.
know it's going to be quality just because of the work that's put in each day. You can visit me at culturekingdomkids.com. And you can also find me online at culturequeen_official. I'm also on iTunes. My children's album, I Like the Me I See, you can find that on iTunes. And I also have a YouTube show that you can check out. So those are all the places you can find me.
I love it. I love it. Thank you all so much. And to you, all of our viewers here at the House of Jubilee, again, know that we hear you and more educational programming is on the way. Please visit us at jubileetheater.org, where you can learn more information about the Next 42 educational initiative and the things that we have coming down the pipe. Although this was our first production, co-production with Miss Shavonne Davis, we're currently, working on something to come for the month of February and maybe something for the summer. So there are programs on the way because at Jubilee Theater, we know that the best way to guarantee a brighter future is to invest in our children today, because those children today will be that brighter future. So if we're not investing in them now, it's like a harvest. If you reap what you sow, if you don't if you don't till the soil, if you don't supply our children with all of the nutrients they need, when it's time to harvest, there won't be much to harvest. So at Jubilee Theater, we're thinking of what we're doing. Oh, don't give me a sermon now. But what we're thinking about, I heard a vamp. I heard a vamp. But what we're looking at doing is taking our educational program and creating that as the next generation,
Yes.
where the next generation of artists, actors, designers, musical directors, educational teachers, they're going to come from us. And if we don't invest in them today, they won't be here for us tomorrow. So please, ma'ams and sirs, support these beautiful women here and the work that they're doing. Support Jubilee Theater. And for more information, you see the link at the bottom, jubileetheater.org. You also can see us on our LinkedIn page, and you can also go to Next 42 Education. Thank you all so much for joining us here at the House of Jubilee. And happy holidays.